Compass Mining makes Bitcoin mining accessible to everyone. Start mining in as little as 48 hours with our turnkey hardware, online and mining directly to your Bitcoin wallet within 2 business days. Find out more at compassmining.io and get started now. Hey miners, welcome back to the channel McNallie Money, the new home of power mining analysis. Well, as you can see, a little bit different background this week. That's because Anthony Power and I are joining you from Amsterdam. We're here for the Bitcoin conference, but of course, we wanted to continue with our regular podcast schedule. Now, in today's video, we're going to be following up on production results from Digital, DMG, and Core Scientific, plus talking about the nice little rally we've seen in Bitcoin over the weekend and the strong close we got on the weekly candle. Now, in addition to that, we've got a number of other key pieces of news to discuss, but before we do, please take a second, hit the like button, you guys. It's a big help to myself and the channel. If you're not already subscribed, feel free to join and let us know in the comment section below how you're feeling about the miner segment overall, your price target on Bitcoin in the final few months of the year, and your outlook as we move into 2025. Now, with that being said, let's get into today's video. Okay, guys, so that's right. Live from Amsterdam, you have Anthony Power and myself. We've got a number of updates from September production results that we wanted to get through. Bitcoin has had a very strong start to the trading week. We're going to talk about that in addition to ETF inflows. And happily to say, Anthony, an update on our Miner Madness leaderboard, looking very favorable and already starting to take shape only a few days into the competition. So, Anthony, welcome to the channel. Our first podcast from your side of the pond. How are you feeling here today?
Yeah, feeling good. Amsterdam's a great city. Had a nice boat trip today and a lunch. So yeah, looking forward to this podcast now.
Yeah, we sure did. I'll throw up a picture of the boat tour. We also found you some Aquapana this morning, Anthony. So that was nice. I'll save that picture for the private reel.
That's for the gold update because it was gold as in price gold.
Yeah, there you go. So first things first here, Anthony, Bitcoin, it was trading relatively strong on Sunday night. We actually got a very strong weekly close to their candle, starting to really set up from a technical and fundamental standpoint. Fast forward to this morning, we now have Bitcoin surpassing 64,000. The high I saw this morning was 64,200 USD. So definitely starting to get that momentum that we've been talking about over the last few weeks here, Anthony.
No, absolutely. Bitcoin had dropped back down to 54,000 and it's been that boundary between sort of 54 and 64,000 for a good few months now. So let's hope this time we can see a little bit of a pull out. Some of the technical guys, I saw some of the graphs at the weekend and they were suggesting that we're getting close to a breakout. So yeah, happy with today. The uplift today there, and a few of the miners have responded favorably, and a few have responded not so favorably. So we'll get to that later on.
Yeah, I'll bring up the mid-morning market update, Anthony. Happily to see Riot in first place here. They were my number one pick in the competition. They're up in excess of 7%. Jason Les actually alluded to their openness to HPC during our interview with him. Now they've come out in subsequent publications, Anthony, saying that Riot may be open to considering potential HPC operations, which is obviously giving the company strength. Interestingly, though, this morning, Wulf on the other end of the spectrum, at least in the time this screenshot was taken, is the furthest down in the red today. So interesting to see how these HPC rumors and theories are having impacts on these share prices.
Yeah, I mean, we were fortunate. I mean, we had that news from Jason on the podcast last week. He was open to a deal if the right deal came along. Nobody's going to turn a CoreWeave away if they come along with, billions and billions of dollars. And I think when we went down to Corsicana, that deal had just been announced by Core Scientific, and people were still probably going through and looking at it and seeing, analyzing that deal and seeing what the respective parts were. Bear in mind, these mining companies have been in business for a few years now, and they look at their strategy. They've spent a lot of money building facilities. They've spent a lot of money buying mining machines, and all of a sudden, a miner comes out with a deal that's going to deliver 6.7 billion over the next 13 years, it may have sounded to some miners at that point in time a little bit too good to be true. But what we've seen since that date, since the 3rd of June, since that announcement, we've seen a lot more miners pivot towards HPC. What we haven't seen yet is we haven't seen the second deal in terms of a big HPC hosting. And so, if you're looking at at miners that are well placed to maybe deliver something like that, Riot would be absolutely well placed, as would the likes of Cypher, as was the likes of TeraWulf. They've got big facilities with power literally already becoming available. So, you're not having to look at long lead times for anything. It could be literally, up and running sort of in 2025 for some of these miners. And maybe IREN as well. They've got significant capacity available at Childress if they were able to co-locate. I know Core Scientific have said they won't co-locate miners with HPC. I've seen personally that you can co-locate, but in certain conditions that you can do that. I think Core Scientific have done the right thing. They've got 5 sites that they're going to utilize for HPC hosting, and we were fortunate to be at one of those sites back in June when they made the announcement to effectively to Wall Street, and we were privileged to be in that group of people.
Yeah, we certainly were. And it's interesting you actually bring up the CoreWeave deal, Anthony, because the last piece of information we received from them was on September 6th, basically stating they would give a 30-day additional extension to that remaining option for the 118 final megawatts. So it'll be interesting to see if we get any additional communication on that one, Anthony, but the time or clock is definitely ticking. Now, I also wanted to throw up this visual from HODL 15 Capital. We traditionally talk about ETF inflows. To start off the month of October, we actually had 3 red outflow days, quite significantly, Anthony. So interesting to see that's now reversed. We had our first green inflow day on Friday. And as we saw last month, once we started to get those green days, they did seem to compound. But interesting to see those big withdrawals or outflows early in the month, and wonder if that's people maybe positioning or taking profits there. But happy to see the green is starting to come. And with that being said, Anthony, we got 3 more production updates out this morning that we wanted to talk about. So the first will be DMG Blockchain. We can jump into this one, maybe give us the highlights here, Anthony. Anything that stood out in your opinion?
Yes, absolutely. So in terms of the big update from DMG is they finally got those new T21 miners installed at their site. And you can now see that total operational hash rate has increased. We've always had effectively a 1 exahash in previously. They were always operating probably about 90% of that, in line with most other miners. No miners at 100% utilization. And many miners are sort of in that sort of 90% bracket there. So now at 1.6 exahash. So they've installed those miners during the month of September. They've got an average operational hash rate of 1.1, which is 17% more hash rate than they were achieving in the previous month of August. So that benefited them. So they mined 23 Bitcoin, 21 in August. That's a 7% increase, 60% increase in hash rate. So just talked about that. In terms of fleet efficiency, they haven't provided a fleet efficiency, but what I've done there is I've looked at what the fleet that they've got is, and I've come up with an estimated efficiency now of about 23.5. So that was a drop from 28.5 in August. That gives them a change of about 18%. We'll clarify with DMG if that's close to where they are, or we'll wait for their earnings update, which should highlight that fleet efficiency. In terms of Bitcoin HODL, they are now down to 433. They've sold a little bit, but they still maintain a reasonably good level of Bitcoin HODL there. And that value of that HODL at the moment is about $27.4 million based on the price as at the end of September. So even looking at today's price at 64,000, it's a bit higher than that, probably closer to 30 million. So that they're in a good space. I mean, they're a small miner. They've now sort of like got a big increase in hash rate. It'd be interesting to see what the next target is. I think they're looking to obviously get to 2 exahash by the end of this year. So let's see if they can look to achieve that target. That'll bring in a few more mining machines, get the fleet efficiency down, get the cost of mining Bitcoin down. But yeah, but it's a good update from DMG.
Yeah, not many months you're able to see your fleet go up by 60% in a single month. And I can only imagine how excited Steven and Sheldon are to plug those T21s in. I know they've been waiting quite some time and there's been a number of delays. So congratulations to finally receiving those, getting them online and hashing. And it'll be interesting to see next month now that they've had a full month in operation with the new machines. Now, next up, Anthony, we have Bit Digital. So this was another one continuing to strengthen their balance sheet. It appears taking all of their production into HODL. We see both their Ethereum, Bitcoin holdings, and cash continuing to climb and climb as one of the best capitalized zero debt companies in the space right now, Anthony. What are you seeing from Bit Digital?
Yeah, I mean, Bit Digital are focusing really on the HPC side. They've got a sort of a small Bitcoin mining business with about 2.8 exahash, of which about 2.4 they were able to operate effectively during the month of September. Bitcoin mine 51.5. It's a slight reduction of 4% of what they were achieved in August. And, some of that will be down to the difficulty and maybe down to a bit of curtailment. Fleet efficiency 28.3. So probably in that mid-range in terms of fleet efficiency. There's a few miners now where we know that IREN are operating at, 17 joules a terahash. I think, in fact, actually 16 joules. It might be on the most up to date. So that's significantly low, and we know that the likes of Bitfarms and CleanSpark are fast on the heels of getting sub 20 as well. So when we see new machines going into their two respective sites, we'll see that come down there. But yeah, midpoint in terms of fleet efficiency. HODL is where it starts changing for BitDeal. They've got a good Bitcoin HODL. Again, they were managed to HODL most, a good percentage of their production. So 731.3 Bitcoin. They also HODL all their Ethereum at the moment, 27,389 Ethereum. And as we know, they stake that Ethereum, so they're getting rewards each month. And during the month of September, they managed to get another 57.9 Ethereum. Now, if you look at that HODL altogether, that's, it's 117.6 million based, again, as at the 30th of September. That price will have increased, with today's Ethereum and Bitcoin mining rising quite nicely, over 64,000 and 2,500 for Ethereum respectively. They've also got a significant cash balance there. So treasury position for Bit Digital is well over $200 million. Market capitalization, we keep talking about this, is only $400 million. So, when you've got a treasury position of half your market capitalization, basically you're saying that the company's only valued at about $200 million, and they've got a Bitcoin mining business, and they've also got this HPC business that's bringing in at the moment an annualized revenue in excess of 50 million, and growing potentially to 100 million by the end of the year. That's their target for the end of the year, and they said that they're going to be very close to that target. So, a company that can bring in the best part of 140 to 150 million of annualized revenue and has an effective enterprise value around about 200 million, people need to start paying attention to Bit Digital. I know that in the selections for Mine and Madness, quite a few people have selected Bit Digital. So that's people are doing that due diligence, looking at the company and scratching ahead a little bit out there. So yeah, another a good update. Yes, the self mining is not growing, and actually, Sam Tabar stated, he looks like he's focusing the company more in terms of looking towards the HPC. At the moment, that's where the conversation is. He's not going to stop Bitcoin mining because that was their core business. But as he's able to get a better rate of return in terms of the HPC, he'll focus on that there. And then when the Bitcoin price, and he said this all along, if the Bitcoin price gets to 120, 130,000, then the margins change to Bitcoin mining. But at the moment, even at 64,000, that's only halfway there. So Sam knows what he's talking about. He's been in this place a long time. He's got that sort of financial background as well, so he knows the numbers and very seldomly gets them wrong. So let's say good update from Bit Digital. And yeah, people do some more due diligence because they're looking to be an undervalued company at the moment.
Compass Mining is your trusted partner in Bitcoin mining. Whether you're investing in one machine or thousands, our customizable solutions are tailored to meet your needs. We are your experts in Bitcoin mining, offering a platform where individuals and businesses can purchase hardware, host machines, and access a range of ancillary Bitcoin mining services. We also specialize in large-scale site development and data center operations. Discover more at compassmining.io and see how we can power your success today. They certainly are. And as you mentioned, Anthony, we'll come on to the leaderboard here for Miner Madness, but a ton of people have selected Bit Digital within their top 3 picks. It's also going to be interesting for me to see. Bit Digital is one of the most asset light companies in the space at this point. Sam's expressed interest in perhaps purchasing their own facility or data center for the HPC side of things. So in my mind, Anthony, it is a head scratcher, but really the only difference I can see in terms of business structure or strategy is just that asset light component. So interesting to see how that goes. And Sam's also expressed interest in potentially spinning out or separating the businesses if they're not able to achieve that market cap premium that they see their peers get. So that's one to watch for sure. Now, finally, Core Scientific, Anthony. So we talked about their CoreWeave contract extension slightly. They also came out today with their production results for the month. We can walk through this one and then we'll get into the Miner Madness leaderboard to round things out here.
Absolutely. So I'm going to say September was very, very much like an August update for Core Scientific. So in terms of Bitcoin mine, 345. Bear in mind, it is a 30-day month compared to August, where they mined 358. So very little in terms of movement there. Hash rate, operational hash rate from 20.5 in August to 20.4 in September. So again, the same operational hash rate. Haven't changed the level of power. They've got 832 megawatts of power. Same mining fleet, 175,000 in the fleet at the moment in self-mining. The efficiency has come down slightly, so that could indicate a couple of things. Either they're replacing machines or they're actually underclocking some machines to get a benefit of a lower cost of energy, but a more efficiencies. Now, we've also seen Hive Digital do this type of process as well. We've got machines that which should be at sort of 24.5, and they've been underclocking and getting about 23 as efficiency from those machines. So actually, when you're not overpowering machines, there are some benefits to that. The theory sounds like back to front, but actually, it's very true. You're using less power, but you're able to tweak and get a better process and get a lower cost. And so therefore you're looking at a number of variables, and which 2 variables come out better. Time and effort to get to those figures is done. And I think Core Scientific, we've had Adam on the podcast. He said before, we've managed to eke out really good returns from some of the older mining machines because we've not operated them at normal or full or in excess power there. So
And
great.
Anthony, just on that point, the way I've thought of it, an analogy I have in my head for viewers that are not super familiar with this, it's like if you're driving your car, but you're flooring it everywhere. You're at maximum speed, you're going to burn a lot more fuel. So think of it as fuel economy. If you're driving at a regular pace, you can get more fuel economy out of that tank. So that's kind of the way I
Yeah.
think of it in my head.
Yeah, yeah. If you stick to 65 miles an hour, and you might get I get 800 miles out of my car, and if I do 85, might only get 500. So yeah, you're absolutely right. In terms of mining revenue, so in August, 22.5 million, in September, 22.5 million. So less Bitcoin, slightly higher Bitcoin price, got the same level of revenues. We know about Core Scientific in 2025. It starts that major contract with CoreWeave there. We're still hoping for maybe an update on the remaining 118 megawatts. Hopefully that's something will come out this week, either or. But bear in mind, CoreWeave were given the extension When Core Scientific went to the market, there were 50 expressions of interest, of which quite a few, not all of them, they disregarded quite a few of those expressions of interest because they didn't meet the criteria. But there was quite a number that did meet the criteria, and maybe they may be able to utilize another client to deliver that remaining amount of hash rate they have available.
Yeah, that'll definitely be one to watch here over the next few weeks, Anthony. Now, before we get to the Miner Madness ranking table here, one last piece of news that came out is an update from Bitfarms. So essentially what they've done is filed an amended and restated prospectus supplement. Now, you reached out to Ben specifically just to get clarity on this one, Anthony. So I'll let you explain what this means. But essentially, as part of the Stronghold deal, they just need to restate these numbers. Is that correct?
That's effectively what it is. So that obviously they're looking to and have an agreed purchase price of 175 million for Stronghold. That will happen in the first quarter of 2025. So basically, they're just re-highlighting the fact they have an ATM of 375 million in process at the moment, and they have utilized an element of that. So effectively, there's 127 million remaining on the ATM. We know that they've got a significant cash balance and a significant Bitcoin balance as well. So they've got a good treasury position there. And like other miners, I mean, if the requirement to issue a new ATM in the future will be required, I'm sure that Bitfarms will announce via a formal update through the SEC to do that. But this is really just highlighting what's currently there. They have a 375 million shelf prospectus, which was dated back in November the 10th, 2023. They're saying they've got 127 million, $127 million of shares remaining on that shelf.
Makes sense. Now, moving into the finale here, Anthony, our Miner Madness update. So, some interesting news to share, exciting news, I should say, from the website. We've actually got our team to live update this leaderboard on the website. So, if you go into the community section under Miner Madness, you can see leaderboard or analyst leaderboard to see the analyst picks. That's going to be live tomorrow, you guys. So, you can actually go in there and track your own results. But in terms of the leaders so far, we have a top 10 list here. You can see, generally speaking, Soluna is the company that's holding these portfolios together at this point in time, Anthony. So first place here, we have username Millig's. The name we have is D. Royce. You can see Pix, Soluna, Riot, and Cypher. So I actually have Riot, and you do as well in your top three, Anthony. Bitcoin price will be the tiebreaker here. So that's going to be if two contestants have the exact same outcome in terms of their investment. And then the way to read this, you guys, total value, as a reminder, $300 is your primary investment, $150 into your first selection, $100 into your second, and $50 into your third. We then show you the total cumulative amount of that portfolio, including the $300 principal, and then your percentage gain. So in this situation, this is as of Friday of last week, first place in the competition, up nearly 10%, Anthony, and we're only 5 days into the competition at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing to point out, so the competition was very, very clear about what you had to do to enter. You had to name three miners, not one. You had to name three miners, and not three miners with the same name. It's three separate miners. You selected your first, second, and third pick, and $150 was notionally invested in pick one, $100 in pick two, and $50 in pick three. There are about, I'm going to say, 50 people that haven't met the criteria. We are reaching out to them very quickly. They've got literally a very short period to turn it around. If you think that you've not submitted your three in the order, and we'll have a list of all the people that have submitted. And one of our followers, Gary, who's a Core Scientific, we'll use him as an example. He just put in Core Scientific as rank one. Well, putting one miner in isn't going to get you into the competition. You need to select three. So Gary, you're going to have to come off the fence a little bit and sort of maybe pick two other miners if you want to stay in the competition. And the other thing that people forgot to do, some people forgot to put the Bitcoin price as well. Bitcoin price is only relevant in the event of a tie, the tiebreaker. So in the event where there is joint first, or joint, maybe if we have prizes for the top three or whatever like that, and there's a joint number in any of those slots there, the tiebreaker will differentiate between who finishes in the respective ranking. So This is really for this quarter up till the end of December, but we will run subsequent quarter competitions following this. I think there's a lot of interest, and I think there'll be a lot of people wanting to join the next one because this one's been a success. Now we've had some really great prizes offered to us for respective winners, so we'll be releasing more information about that as and when through our subsequent podcasts. But this was just to reach out and let people know, those that haven't filled in their three and the Bitcoin price, you've literally got, this next day or so to get that put correct, and then we can have all the entrants in there. But yeah, it's looking really good at the moment. This is changing with great, with literally every sort of like 15 minutes, because the live share price data is linked to Google Finance, and Google Finance updates every 15 minutes. So I think from tomorrow, the website will be live as well. So we know the live leaderboard at any one time because we've put the spreadsheets together, and we're now getting the website to reflect live pricing as well. So we do have all our mining data live pricing. So if you go onto our website and whatever wanted to look at valuations of the mining companies in terms of market cap, in terms of enterprise value divided by hash rate, all those statistics for the miners is live, and so that's linked to Google Finance as well. So we're fortunate we can show that, gives people an opportunity when they're doing their due diligence to have a little bit more there. And now the competition's on there, we want to make that live as well, so people can go and look at the website and find out how they're doing, find out how the analysts are doing. We've got 9 analysts who've submitted their data, so that's a really good number of people in the sort of like Twitter and YouTube space who follow Bitcoin miners. They've put their selections forward, so we'll have a separate table to show how they're doing. And I think at the moment, Bryce, you may be leading that 9.
I think I might be, but you don't even consider me an analyst, Anthony. So it's
No.
8 analysts and Bryce in there. But I do think I was in 12th at least as of
Yeah.
Friday. So I almost made us do a top 15 just to have my name on there. But Anthony, good reminder, actually about 2 things. Prizing, you guys. We've actually already received a number of the miners reaching out to us saying, hey, we'd love to support this and provide prizing. I'm going to be collecting all that swag, and we're going to be putting together great gift boxes for the winners here. The other thing you mentioned, Anthony, is the amount of live data that's available on the website. So this
Mm.
stuff takes a long time to put together, you guys, specifically things like efficiency and the joules per terahash, the exahash. These calculations, you have to go through pages and pages of reports. So rather than doing that, we've now curated it for you. It's all coming from Anthony, and you can take a look at that as part of your due diligence to really save yourself some time. So good reminder there, Anthony. Great update so far on the Miner Madness, and looking forward to seeing these updates day after day with that live data. So you guys, that's all for now. We're going to be continuing with our podcast schedule all week here. The conference itself is on Wednesday, Thursday. We'll be doing daily reviews of what we see here at Bitcoin Amsterdam. If you're still watching at this point, hit the like button, you guys. Feel free to subscribe. Anthony, I'll kick it back to you for any closing thoughts, but appreciate the time today.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a great week. We've got the conference on Wednesday and Thursday. So Bryce and myself are on speaker panels on Wednesday itself. So if any of the followers are going to the conference itself, I know there's a few already reached out to both of us, and we'll be catching up with those there. But if anyone else is going there, reach out to us. We'll be sure to have a chat with you, have a beer with you or something like that while we're at the conference. And yeah, looking forward to it. I came here last year. Last year was my first speaking part of the conference, and I'm speaking on a panel all about Bitcoin mining this time as well. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to catching up with a lot of people that are attending as well. Some good speakers attending. We've got the likes of Paul Prager from TeraWulf. We've got Zach Bradford from CleanSpark. Amanda Fabiano is speaking on a couple of panels, and she's one of the directors at TeraWulf as well. So plenty of people out there we can catch up with, and try and get an insight as to what's happening in the respective companies. But yeah, looking forward to it. Nice day in Amsterdam today, as I reflected earlier. Weather's nice today. Not so good maybe on the conference days, but that's great because we're inside on the conference days. We're not really rushing around looking at doing any sightseeing those days, but we'll try and make use of the day before the conference to see if we can do a few other things as well.
Yeah, we certainly will. I'm just checking the price of Bitcoin before we let you guys go here. Not a lot of movement during the podcast, Anthony, with Bitcoin still hovering right around that $64,000 price point. So, you guys, hopefully the portfolios are looking green today. You're working your way up that leaderboard in Miner Madness, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.